Hey, it's definitely a week later because the goatee's gone, but same location. This is my studio in Sonoma, so welcome back. And this is really a part two. So if you didn't watch last week's video newsletter, maybe check that out. But honestly, you don't have to, it'll flow. So let's just dive right into it, okay? Um, this week's question, I don't know who these come from. They were part of the survey and no one left names. But this one says, "What's the number one piece of advice you'd give your younger self when it comes to acting?" Oh my, number one piece of advice: relax more, enjoy the journey more, versus trying to get somewhere, trying to have something happen. Know that I am living my dream every second that I'm living my dream, and it's all part of it. There's no getting there. If you're really supposed to do this, I got asked the other day if I'm going to retire someday. I'm like, you're kidding, right? I mean, it may shift into something else, but I ain't retiring. Hell, I just, I just finally got it going. Um, so, also though, gosh, I mean, I could. There's not one piece of advice. There's lots, right? Um, you know, to to certainly work hard, and find another gear and work even harder. Outwork your competition, but balance is the key. Again, I just was constantly straddling the line of going after it and being committed. I mean, I was always that. That was never the issue ever. My issue was balance, not being stressed out, not being impatient, not being ungraceful, not being graceful, excuse me, um, being ungraceful with myself, with others, just because of that desire, because you want it so bad, right? Um, but the best advice I can give you is to truly don't work on just your craft. That is important to be studying, to get world class training, to don't, man, separate yourself from the competition, okay? And everything that you have control over, crush, own. You can be, you may not have control over right now about job opportunities or auditions, but what you can control is what kind of shape you're in physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially. All these things are things that you can have a hand in, if not completely. And so you must own those things. But really, I could go on and on, as you can tell. But the main thing is a beautiful balance of craft, a foundation that's solid, of world class training somewhere, somehow. I mean, workshops are great, and improv classes and acting classes and workshops, they're all great. They're wonderful. They serve a purpose. But man, there's nothing like world class training, like a foundation that's rock solid. So I would recommend that beyond anything else. But the other side of that fence, on this side, is you know, I say it all the time: having your shit together, um, being so mentally balanced, mentally tough. Um, because again, if you don't believe in this, if you're if the if an audition can crush you, or a comment can crush you, or a review can crush you, man, you're not in the boat. You gotta believe. You gotta be in. You gotta. You have got to be your biggest fan. You have to. You have to, or you're just going to get steamrolled. Um, so, are you in or not? Are you going to do this or not? Are you a professional dreamer or not? And that leads to what I wanted to share this week. Okay, there's three people that caught my eye. One is a guy named Shaquem Griffin. Shaquem Griffin. He's a linebacker who just got drafted by the Seattle Seahawks. Sorry, I'm pulling something up too while I'm doing this. And there it is right there. He has only one hand. Okay, now I want you to think about that. Your job is to tackle people. Your job is to intercept. Your job is to block, shed blocks, etc. This guy has one hand. I think his experience with this life started when he was 4. And of course, if you read his story, if you hear about his story, his entire life he's been told no. He's been told no way. You can't do that. You can't do that. And that's the thing, man. You can't measure heart. I get asked all the time, do you think I can do it? Do you think I can make it? Do you think, if my opinion is going to sway you, that's not good. I know if you respect me, if you're a student of mine or you've been watching for a long time, I understand. Believe me, Sandy said things to me that were priceless. Sanford Meisner said things to me that were like a spare oxygen mask when there was no air, or a reserve tank when I was on empty. No doubt, that's true. But back to the point, you've got to believe in you. And because you're going to have so many naysayers and so many doubters and so many moments of doubt. And this kid, his whole life has been told no. From the Pop Warner football to the high school football to college football, right? And everywhere he went, he continued to just prove everybody wrong. Captain of the team, all league, MVP, and then he gets to college and he's all conference. He's like the stud of the conference. But then it comes time for the NFL and people are like, you see him, but you can't make it in the NFL because he still only has one hand. And he's like, okay, someone give me a chance. Someone give me a chance. And the Seattle Seahawks gave him a chance. They drafted him in the 5th round. Man, I hope and pray he has a beautiful career. Even if he doesn't, it's an amazing accomplishment. But I hope he does. I hope he continues to not only prove everybody wrong, but again, to prove himself right. Because he does believe in himself. And that leads to the second guy. And there's sports are just a beautiful example of this, of people overcoming, everything, honestly. People overcoming doubters and competition and demanding a career. And so there's a guy, he's a baseball player. He's like 5'5", 5'6", like that big. And his name is Jose. I think it's Jose Altuve. He's a second baseman for the Houston Astros. And when I first saw him in an All-Star game, I think it was last year, a friend of mine who follows baseball like crazy, I don't anymore, he said, "Oh my God, this guy's a complete stud. He's like the best player in the league." I go, "That little dude?" And he goes, "You wait." I don't know what he did that day. It doesn't matter. I think he pounded out a couple of hits. Doesn't matter. What does matter is that this guy went on to become the most valuable player last year. He's led his team to the World Series. And if you hear his story, if you hear how many times he was told, no, you're not enough, you're too this, you're too, obviously too short, too small, too little, too nothing. And the thing they can't measure is heart. The thing they can't measure is this commitment to your dream. And again, I say it all the time too. Passion and hard work are impossible to ignore. And he embodies that. He outworked everyone. Every coach you hear about as he made his way to the major leagues, every single coach talks about, oh my God, he was not going to be denied. He was not going to be denied. And that leads to the last one I'd like to share with you today. This one I need my glasses for. I heard about this and I'm like, Jesus. This is the draft report put together for Steph Curry, the two-time MVP, two-time NBA champion, should be 3 times if it weren't for the horrible, horrible Cleveland Cavaliers. Cannot stand them. This is the scouting report on Steph Curry as he was coming out of college, as teams were getting ready to draft him, right? Here it is. His perceived weaknesses. Ready? He's not a true point guard. Out of control at times. That part's true. Shot selection. Well, he's stuck between a 1 and a 2. That's just that's a size issue. Okay. Ability to defend position at next level. Can't do it. Lateral quickness. He lacks that. Versatility to defend multiple positions. Limited upside. In other words, he doesn't have much. He's reached his peak as a player. He's just a backup fringe starter. College system makes him difficult to evaluate. He does have just average athleticism, average size, average wingspan, a frail frame, and he relies too heavily on an outside shot. Steph Curry took that, and he definitely used it for motivation. He definitely did, but I know this for a fact. He didn't need that for motivation. He believed in himself. He wanted this. And I know going after a dream is difficult. Believe me, I'm telling you, I always thought it was going to be easier. I thought going after your dream would be easier. But it is tough. And there's some dog days. And it's scary and intimidating and overwhelming. So it all circles back to what I've been trying to say this last 2 weeks, which is you got to have your shit together. You got to believe. You got to be congruent. You got to outwork everybody. And with all that, you need balance, because it's important to enjoy the experience, to embrace that you're just a little more alive than most people sleepwalking through life for a paycheck, So anyway, I've been wanting to share this with you. Hey, one last thing. Would you let me know if you prefer these videos, if you like them? I'm not the best typer in the world, as you can tell, and my grammar's horrible, as you can tell. So sometimes videos are a chance for me to share a lot more content. But anyway, I don't know if most of you even watch it this long. In fact, it's time to shut up. So have a good week, okay? Have a good week dreaming.